I'm here today with Jack Downs. We're at the Spark Arena in Auckland, where Jack is helping to prepare for the big High Tech Awards this evening. And I've taken a moment of Jack's time just to connect with him because I know from hearsay that Jack is dyslexic. Jack.
Yes, hello.
So Jack, I started hearing about your dyslexia not as a problem, but as oh, by the way, Jack is dyslexic.
Yep.
Quite a few years ago now, and no one seemed to think of it as a disability in your case. So how did you become involved? And I know that your father has worked with the high tech community for some years.
Yep.
David Downs, and but how did you become involved yourself in the high tech community?
I've been involved since I came out of high school actually. My last year of high school I wasn't sure what I wanted to do. I had a scholarship from Massey University to do business. I had a few offers for jobs. I ended up doing both. I had an offer from the Distillery with Mike Jenkins, and he brought me on board as a developer and a graphic designer, and I did a bunch of stuff there while also studying at Massey. Business. I failed all my papers on purpose. I couldn't be bothered writing essays. I hated every moment of it, but it was free. So I gave it a go, decided it wasn't for me, and 6 months into all of that I quit university and went full-time with the Distillery. Spent 4 or 5 years there and then came into Swaytech. I wanted a bit of an agency kind of work. So I could work with multiple businesses and kind of provide creativity solutions for lots of businesses at once. And then a year into that, Bob got me involved in the High Tech Awards, and I've just kind of gone from there. Now living in Sydney at a completely different job, but I love to hop back over every so often and do the High Tech Awards.
Yeah, obviously you're very valuable. So I'm curious about you, Jack, because you've never, being dyslexic has never seemingly held you back. You've never faced, in my experience, you haven't faced that kind of, oh, Jack is dyslexic, therefore he can't do anything.
Yeah.
So what do you think it is about you?
I think I'm lucky because I had an early diagnosis. I was in primary school when my parents started thinking, oh, maybe Jack could be dyslexic. I had family friends. My best friend at the time, who was obviously still a best friend of mine, had been diagnosed with dyslexia. My parents kind of recognised that and went, oh, maybe we should get Jack tested too, because I was struggling at school a lot. So I've had a very early diagnostics from probably intermediate, if not primary school, which has allowed me a lot of time to not necessarily deal with it, but come up with creative ways to do things differently and think differently. And I see a lot of things a lot differently than others. I can remember the whole room and all the tables out here, and that's quite helpful for doing something like this, and just little things like that.
Absolutely, they're not little things, by the way. They're things that a lot of people can't do.
Yeah.
Now, I need to declare myself that I've been involved with the High Tech Awards for quite a few years now as a judge.
Yeah.
And I had this, and I'm also come from a design background, Jack, and so I started to realise in practising design that we were not considering who's at the table at the beginning of the work, the design investigation, if you like. And so I started looking at diversity as it was then explained, and it was explained purely and simply as gender or culture.
Yeah.
And I started to see from my own experience of my family that dyslexia was missing. There are other neurodiversities, of course, but dyslexia, as I researched it more and more, I started to understand how enormous it is.
Yeah.
And it's now thought to be 1 in 5 globally. In New Zealand, that means well over 1 million people.
Yeah.
So what I'm doing, and the company that I've started up with a couple of partners, is called Unlock Innovation. And what we're looking at is bringing more understanding of dyslexia and support for dyslexic people into the tech sector.
Yep.
So I'm enormously interested in what your experience, Jack. And I really want to know from you, and I want you to tell our audience about what your strengths are first.
Oh, I haven't really thought about it properly until you came to me about exactly what those strengths might be. They just come naturally to me, not to brag. But I feel like I'd come up with a lot of creative solutions to people's problems. not to name names, but when it comes to seating plans, I've done a lot around that and how we can make it quicker and less risk and all that kind of stuff. And when it comes to business problems as well, if I'm sitting in a room in a meeting, I'm not afraid to put up my hand and come up with a crazy idea or ask the question that might be needed.
Sure.
Whereas others might not want to ask that question or might not have thought about this different creative way of thinking about something. I also have a very logical brain, which is fantastic because I can help mix the logic and the creativity all in one. And I think that's quite a unique area of ways to do things.
It is a marvellous mixture.
Yeah.
Now, it's time for me to also declare that last year, at the great age of mid-70s, I discovered I was dyslexic, which explains a lot about my life.
Yeah.
But I had already embarked on this journey before I myself knew.
Yeah.
But I think I intuit a lot about how dyslexics have been able to survive in this world.
Yeah.
Because it seems to me that as I go further and further into the research, that we're all neurodiverse. We're all on a continuum.
Yeah.
So why was it that the left brainers took all the power? You know, so in the world in the last however long it's been, the left brainers, those people who like to take one step at a time and fancy that they're logical, have been the winners. And us crazy creatives have been locked up. You know, and brought out occasionally. We're trolleyed out occasionally. And so, for me, if we're going to face the big challenges of the 21st century, we need both sets of skills. So why do you think your skills, or dyslexic skills, might be so valuable in the 21st century? And I'll preface this by saying that the World Economic Forum has identified the skills of the 21st century as being, for me, almost a perfect match of many dyslexic people. Big picture thinkers, contextual thinkers, have a high risk profile, and are creative, good people skills. Yeah?
Yeah, I'd say so.
So there we are. So why do you think this is valuable?
I think, like you say, it's a neurodiversity factor. Everyone has a different outlook on life, everyone has a different approach to the way that they do things, and having a holistic approach to everything and seeing the full picture is a fantastic thing for someone to be able to lead and to be able to provide creative solutions or logical solutions. But you do need those detail-oriented people as well, because it's, otherwise we're going to miss things as dyslexics.
Absolutely.
And I'm just going to do it the way that I see it, and I think that applies to absolutely everyone, not just dyslexics. It's just having a mix of everyone in the room together to come up with these fantastic companies or products or solutions to the world problems.
So equal respect.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, so for me, last year we won, Unlock Innovation won a small Callaghan Arahia seed grant. And it was thrilling for me because to be recognised as our work to be recognised as innovative is really important. Because what we're talking about here is promoting more innovation in New Zealand by bringing disparate minds together, and if you like, engaging with the tension of that. So that's what we're doing, and it's not that easy, but with people like you, who I'm coming across pretty much on a regular basis now, people who have been hiding, not like you, but have been hiding dyslexia, because you couldn't become, diagnosed when I was a kid, unless you were a boy, unless you came from wealthy family. Because it was expensive and it wasn't thought to be a woman thing. But dyslexia runs right across every gender, every culture, everywhere.
No matter what.
No matter what. And so we have this capacity. I'm talking about New Zealand, you're probably talking about New Zealand and Australia, I don't know where your loyalty lies, but you know, we can't afford to miss out on this skill set.
I agree.
What would you hope for the future, Jack?
I hope that more people can talk about it openly. I never, and it did surprise me when you said that you heard that I was dyslexic, because I haven't told people when needed. I've only just mentioned it to bosses or managers or anything like that, because I feel like it's nice for them to know that I might struggle with writing something long or doing a presentation or something like that. And I luckily never have come across a problem with that. But I think being able just to be open about it and say, hey, I have a different way of looking at this, I am dyslexic, or anything like that, it's just a great conversation to start having.
Yeah. I think we should remove the prefix.
Yeah.
Dys.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just lexic.
Thank
I am
you.
lexic.
Yeah, you're lexic.